Hello everybody, my name is Arturo and I'm a personal trainer. Bioenergy, what is bioenergy? How to use it? What's it good for? What the hell am I talking about? So bioenergy is not some mumbo jumbo stuff. It's not some magical thing that you get from meditation or whatever you think you're when you clicked on this. Um, or maybe it is. We'll find out. So basically, what I'm talking about is there's different energy systems within your body, right? That's the term bioenergy, because biological energy. Um, and no, it's got nothing to do with the corn fuel or whatever that comes from plants for your car. Uh, it does come from plants in certain versions of this bioenergy. So I'll basically just go over the different kinds and what they're best suited for when it comes to exercise. So first one, yeah, everybody will know this. You guys should know most of these. Fat. It's a it's a body fuel, right? It's one of the slowest burning fuels in your body. How so? What those are best suited for and utilizing. So, and if you're trying to lose weight, this would probably be the exercise you want to do to use up that fuel. Would be things that would take long periods of time. So, since it's such a slow burning fuel, it's best activated over a longer period of time, right? So things like walking, uh, I guess long distance running, if you're an athlete, and just you can even do static exercises. So ones where you're holding it, you can hold them for long periods of time. So if you're good with planks, you're good at sumo squats, you can do things like that. Or even those Gokus that I told you about, where you hold your hands up in a pyramid right in front of your chest and just press in. Those would be good for just stressing out those kinds of things. So, in regards to the other fuels, there's protein as a fuel. It's how you use it is it breaks down. Usually, when you're in a kind of a crisis, if your body has no other options, you haven't had food in a while, it starts breaking down the protein, basically your muscle mass in your body. And that's one thing I have a problem with. That's another thing that I have a problem with when it comes to the keto diet, is because your body is not only, when you stop having carbs, your body is not only using up fat, it's also tearing up the proteins in your body. It's not healthy. It's not tearing up complete proteins, it's just tearing off amino acids from those proteins. So it's really just not something you want to live with. Um, and if your insulin's bad, if you got type 2 diabetes, or you have trouble producing insulin in your body, you can have a risk of developing ketoacidosis diabetes. I believe that's the correct term. Um, and if I were to extrapolate how one tears an amino acid out, I could just say that increases your risk for cancer, but I'm not sure on that. And it may be confirmed or not, as far as I know. I don't know. Because it's not tearing off a complete protein, it's just tearing off a part of it. So if something else comes and latches onto it that's not an amino acid, that can just cause problems. So yeah, protein is like the slowest. Like there's nothing else slower than that, pretty much. So if you want to have a scale, I'm probably not going in scale. So it'd be protein, then fat, and then the next one is carbs. Everybody knows carbs. That's the thing that people on the keto diet like to avoid. So you guys don't know what you do when you're messing with that. It just blows my mind that everybody goes for it, despite not knowing anything, and then just listening to a random person or a random amount of things that they just Googled. I don't know. You really shouldn't do anything that your doctor says not to do. Or you should only, let me rephrase that. You should only do things that your doctor tells you to do. Okay? Because they're licensed, they had to go to school for a long time to learn all these intricate ways the body works, and I'm telling you some of these ways too. Um, and then you know you have a nutritionist and dietitian and all that. So really, unless they tell you to do it, then you shouldn't be doing it because you just have no idea. So anyway, I just don't want you guys to get hurt. So back to the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are just carbon and water basically put together. So you have this way the word carbohydrate. Get it? So anyway, or is it hydrogen? I don't know. Anyway, that's not important. There's basically two kinds of carbohydrates. There's a slower burning one, which you find in like fruits and vegetables. And they had another one, so like potatoes, apples, those starchy types of food you can find in broccoli, and bread, which I don't know if that'd be considered a starch, but it's probably more of a grain than a starch, but it's still in there. And then you know those will probably pretty much last you all day if you have them in the morning. So that's why they say breakfast is such a good important meal. And then like all these different breakfast foods are like pancakes, waffles. You put butter and syrup on it, and then you can have your coffee, like for fueling up to start the day, right? You get it? Like you see where this is going? Like that's why we have all these sweets for breakfast nowadays. And then you have the slower or the quicker burning ones, which is basically just pure sugar. uh, so there's different types of sugar. So this sugar is basically just, you know, it amps up your body so fast, and you're just like your body is just going in overdrive basically. So that comes from like soda, candy bars, you know, basically what you think of when it comes to unhealthy sugary sweets. So those are things you want to avoid, unless you're planning to do something really fast like right now. Then you know don't you probably don't really need them. Otherwise you're not gonna get used, and it gets stored in your body as fat, and then it's gonna take longer to burn off, and that's how you gain weight. That's just disadvantageous to you. And then here's the fourth and final biofuel that you guys haven't heard of. It's the phosphate system, and basically it comes from phosphorus type. That's so foods that contain phosphorus. I've talked about this in other videos, I believe, but it's your it's you don't want to have pure phosphorus. I want to stay straight out because that's poisonous. I know this because my cousin, he's also he's not a trainer or anything like that. He's got he's done like body chemistry, so he knows more about it than I would. I just know what's relevant to exercise. So anyway, when it comes to your phosphate system, you can find a lot of it in milk. It'll fuel your muscles more. So like if you're trying to be an athlete, I guess, or you're trying to build muscle, you want to have your phosphate system well taken care of. All your systems are running at the same time, really, but depending on what type of activity you're doing, it's gonna use that more, basically. So your phosphate system will be like good for lifting weights, really any type of physical activity where your muscles is going to be used. In strength, it'll work well. So, and then in running too, which will be combined with your carbohydrate system. And then, so like I said, all these systems are always running at the same time, no matter what. It just depends on the type of activity you're doing that determines how much one system is going to be used at that time. So like say if you're running, it's going to be your carbohydrates and your phosphates system. Your carbohydrates to fuel your heart, your muscles, you know, because it's quick, it burns real fast. And then your phosphate system's only be working because it's working the muscle. And then once your sugar drops down, that's going to start working on the fat because now you're in it for the long haul. Your body realizes. So uh, I wouldn't recommend doing that because you're just going to feel awful. Because not only did you not only did one energy system fail, now it's relying on another one, and then your phosphates ran out, and then you basically just have fat and your protein to rely on. Those are very slow burning, so you're gonna be very fatigued. Um, just not good for you. So going so if you have like a lemon, really that's really or any type of thing with electrolytes would work. So any type of citrus fruit, that's where they come from. Apples, oranges, lemons. I prefer lemons because I like the taste. So yeah, I've been known to call myself biofuel in certain areas of the internet. Um, so along with these biofuels, they all create ATP in one way or another, adenosine triphosphate, which is what that stands for. It's ATP. And you can see at the end it says phosphate, so that burns pretty quickly. Well, not really. It's how do I put this? It creates it pretty fast. It's not really necessarily fast. It's when it does create ATP pretty fast. Um, so ATP, that's created in the mitochondria of your cell. That's one part of the cell, and then it just releases the ATP, and that goes to wherever part of your body, and then that creates reactions, which causes it to work, and then you have muscle action, and then bam. So that's bioenergetics. I just gave you guys some science stuff. You guys are coming here probably like, oh man, I'm hoping for more mystical magic stuff, and maybe you liked that, maybe you were disappointed about that idea. But I totally did a 180 on you, didn't I? Well, I got to get you guys to click on this stuff somehow. So um, like I said, there is, if you go watch that how to use key, this kind of plays into it. So there is kind of mystical stuff that kind of comes with it. And phosphates, you can get those in I want to say they come because it says phosphate's an element. I want to say that you can get it from like earthy stuff, so like fruits and vegetables, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So there might be like some sort of like Mother Earth connection there too, if you guys want to follow that. And then of course, there's the whole keto diet that I don't really believe in. If you want to go with the fat protein stuff, so hey, there's mystical stuff there too, magical thinking, because people who don't know what they're talking about will latch onto that and just run with it. So, and people will stand by for some reason. I don't know why. So, it's just you're gonna cause all kinds of health problems with yourself there. So, I guess if you believe in oh no, I won't go there because that's just rude at that point. So, but that's all I got for you guys anyway. So, there's more of these videos to come. So if you guys want to see more, subscribe, like, share. You know the drill. Come on, guys. By now it's YouTube. So, I'll see you guys next time, and have I don't know. What should I say here? Have a I don't know. Fuel your biology with biofuel. Okay. All right. Bye.